to go into the medical mountain, as we like to talk about the mountains of influence here at His Glory. We know we're in such exciting times. We say here the most exciting times to be alive, even though we are in great battles. We have such great hope with all of the new just information and awareness and knowledge that's coming out on things that have been kept hidden from us in the past. And that's what our guest today is focusing on in the medical industry, as she is in the fight against cancer. And her name is Lori Mills. Lori is the host of Uncover California, and that can be found on YouTube and Rumble. And we'll have her share any other platforms that she can be found as well. But Lori is here today to share her husband's story, how God has changed their world, strengthened them for battle, and remained faithful every step of the way. She will also share the mission ahead to help others through nationwide FDA approval of ANKTIVA and President Trump's right to try. So, Lori, welcome on to Take 5. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time today.
It's an honor to be here. And I think the mission that I'm on right now is bigger than myself. Yes. Before all of this happened, I had my podcast, Uncover California. I was working with the whistleblowers, trying to get Aaron Stevenson reinstated to find Biden's missing children. Gavin Newsom redistricted us. You know, it really was a pivotal point when Charlie Kirk was executed, broke our hearts. And at that time, and I've said it before, I said, Lord, send me. And I was thinking I was going to run for Congress and that I would be fighting on a political level. And within a week, my husband had thought he had a virus. He wasn't feeling good. He had a headache. And then suddenly one night he called me and he was on the living room floor. My son and I piled him into the car. We got to the hospital, sat there, you know, that is forever, 5 hours. Yes. And the doctor comes in and says, you have a mass on your brain.
Oh my gosh, Lord.
Not on our bingo card. They rushed him to LA, pulled in a surgeon, had emergency surgery, and my husband's been diagnosed what is called glioblastoma, which has a 12 to 15 month survival rate. I cried out to the Lord. I was like, Lord, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And as a woman who has the best husband in the world, who has provided for us while I had been doing all this podcast stuff. And you know, as a podcast host, it really doesn't pay. You know, you sell a hat, you get $2. It's not a career choice I would probably choose for anybody. But God has always told me, until he comes, we have to be the salt. We have to be the light, and we have to occupy until he comes. So I just, you know, I can tell you I was crying every 5 minutes, listening to worship music, and the Lord has been present. And a turning point for me was when I was talking to a girlfriend and I said, I feel like I'm sinning. I feel like I'm in total sin because I'm sad. I'm so sad. I wasn't angry. I never had despair, but I was sad. And I said, I'm just so sad. And she said, Lori, blessed are those that mourn. Blessed are those that mourn. You are allowed to mourn right now. Basically, what happened from there was, the week before, 4 days after surgery, my husband gets up in front of our church, Holy Spirit filled, talking about Jesus Christ. And we want this mission, number one, to point people to the Lord. But that night when my friend told me, blessed are those that mourn, I opened my Bible, Philippians chapter 4. Think of these things that are lovely, the things that are peaceful, and the God of peace will be with you. You can do all things through Christ that gives you strength. On our feed pops up this interview with Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong from the Immunity Bio Clinic. And he had done an interview with Tucker Carlson. And so we watched it, and I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense. Why isn't this available to everyone? Especially with the fact that President Trump passed in 2018 right to try. And this man, and we'll get into the science of this, it makes sense. I feel my husband's cancer and this death sentence, number one, I reject it. We're going to beat it. But number two, it's bigger than him. It's for every family that's out there, like Natasha in Austria, who I've connected with, who's a paraplegic and her husband has cancer. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She doesn't have any other family. Tyler, his wife, she has the same thing that my husband has, went down on the same day. He desperately loves his wife. And people don't really understand, unless you've been through it, how much this just turns your world upside down.
Yeah. No, absolutely, Lori. This is my aunt actually had, this was a couple years ago, very similar. When you were just telling your story, I was just taken back to her. She was dizzy, felt weird, went into the doctor. Same thing. They're rushing her immediately for surgery for a brain tumor. I can't remember what kind, but same thing. It was so instant, and it just, same thing she said. I mean, your whole world and life, of course, and everyone around you is changed. So this is, this is life changing. And cancer, I've always thought this for so long. This is one of the biggest diseases that so many people are dealing with. There has to already be the cure. With the amount of money being raised for research, and things have been hidden from us, or people have been silent.
That's part of the problem, is they've made so much money on standard protocol that those in big pharma don't want to let it go. If there's a cure, they lose a lot of money. What Dr. Pat has discovered is when you get chemo and radiation, which unfortunately you have to do it in order to qualify for any trial. You have to. That is the rule. So, but what?
Is that what you call it for the ANKTIVA?
For any trial. For any trial. You want to do the CAR T trial, you want to do any trial, you have to do at least the chemo pills, and you have had to try standard protocol, and it has to fail. Where my mindset has been, why not hit it from the beginning? And I am pushy. And one day when I was in the depths of my misery, sometimes I'll go out and garden. It just clears my mind. I'll put on worship music. And I was sitting there and I was pulling weeds. And God clearly spoke to me in that still small voice. And he said, this is the disease. You pull a weed, the root is there. You pull a weed. And so he started just impressing on me that our bodies are designed with what is called a natural killer cell. A natural killer cell eats cancer. It eats virus. It eats anything in your body that is foreign. There was a movie way back in the 50s about these people that were injected into somebody's body to do an operation. They were like miniature, and the killer cells came after them because they were a foreign body. I forget the name of it. So what Patrick has done is he has found a way to make your body start producing the natural killer cells again, and to attack the cancer. So I'm watching this. It makes sense. And Andrew's going through chemo and radiation because he has to. And I was like, I've got to get him on the show, on this protocol. And so I could be very pushy. Final podcast suspended it for a while because we're at the hospital every day. We've got to drive to Hollywood every day. All of a sudden, I start meeting all these cancer patients. And what I did was whenever Patrick soon would post, I would post an update or a video or something under his comment saying,
Lori, let me just pause you right here because we're going to cut to a commercial break. And this is a great place to stop. We'll pick right back up with this story when we return to Take 5, everyone. Stick around. All right, everybody, welcome back to Take 5. I am Jordan Oliver here today with Lori Mills, and I am learning so much. I hope all of you are. And I have done many medical interviews over these years, as you all have been with us, our His Glory family. I know you've been in tune and hearing from all the different doctors we have and people on the front lines fighting for medical freedom. But Lori is bringing fresh information to us today, particularly about the fight against cancer. And so, Lori, I am going to just toss it back to you. I want you to be doing most of the talking today because you have so much to share. And you were in the middle of telling us you're sharing your journey with your husband. And when you were outside gardening, I love that you said that God spoke to you when you were pulling weeds, saying you've got to get to the root. And then as the revelation kept coming to you, you kept on the path to fighting for this treatment with ANKTIVA. And am I saying that correct, Lori? It's pronounced ANKTIVA?
Yes.
Is that the right?
It's
Okay, so go ahead.
it's ANKTIVA. Everybody's body has what is called natural killer cells. It's what God produces in your body to eat disease. So what happens is when you get cancer, I never thought I'd know about this stuff, by the way. When you get cancer, those natural killer cells are suppressed. And we all have cancer cells in our body. It's when that immune system stops working that the suppression cells, which are bad, start to grow. With ANKTIVA, what he's done is he has found a way to put natural killer cells, kind of supercharge them, to give them a boost so they can start working again to eat the cancer cells. It is absolutely fascinating. But as I said, the FDA has very strict guidelines for you to even be able to access this protocol. And we really need the NIH to fund this research. And, I love President Trump. I've always been MAGA Maha girl, but because of all of the money laundering and fraud that was within our system, USAID, all these things, they threw the baby out with the bathwater. They need to start funding this research again because they have really cut back on research dollars. And I want them to mass produce ANKTIVA and release it to the public. There's a great special that Dr. Soon has done Tucker Carlson. It's about an hour and a half interview. He did Megyn Kelly. He just did a special on News Nation with Chris Cuomo where he brought him into the clinic, showed him under microscope these cells eating cancer cells. What it's doing is it's putting the immune system back to work and teaching it to recognize the cancer cells again. What we did was I did my podcast and then I started doing updates. I do updates like every other day because we did do a GoFundMe because I can't go get a job. I've got to take them to the hospital every day for chemo and radiation. I've got 5 rescue dogs. We've got a household to support. He was the sole breadwinner in my house. I update that daily. I update my X account daily, which is at Lori Mills, the number 4CA42. So every couple of days we'll do updates, tell what the progress is doing. But as this is happening, I'm meeting so many other cancer patients that are desperate for help. And so right now I want to take a moment, if I can, and give you all some advice. Number 1, if you're on X, this is where the battle is. Information battle is on X. You need to humanize your case. You cannot have an anonymous account. It's time for you to be extremely vulnerable. Unfortunately, people love reality TV. It's time for you to become a reality TV star. Start posting on the FDA's page. Start posting on Kennedy's page. Start posting on Kennedy's posts and go in the comments. Have your video. Tell your story. Tell them to cut the red tape on ANKTIVA and to save lives and cure cancer. The government needs to get out of the way. And there are just too many people dying. The people that I see at Cedars-Sinai on a daily basis that they're sick. They're sick. And the problem is they're doing radiation. And what does radiation do? It kills those natural killer cells. As it kills the good cells, it also kills the cancer. But when you stop taking it, your killer cells are dead and you have nothing to fight it off. So it comes back. And it usually
Lori,
comes
that's what
back
I was
with a vengeance.
I was going to say, no wonder they make you, which is, this is so interesting learning this from you today, that they make you do the chemo and radiation first in order to get to the trial, because that's going to weaken, you and kill the good cells. So, that is so frustrating.
I believe that if you start hitting this from the beginning of the disease, you can destroy it and teach your immunity and your own body to kill the cancer. It makes perfect sense, because the only reason you got cancer in the first place is because your natural killer cells stopped working.
Yes. And all the naturopath doctors that I have talked to or even worked with for myself, I've definitely been on health journeys throughout the years for different things, and they all say the same thing. Our bodies are designed by God to heal itself. So
yes,
we're just, these medical breakthroughs coming out are just aiding your body. They're not curing anything. It's aiding your body to do its job and cure and heal yourself. So this makes sense.
And that's exactly what ANKTIVA does. And I do have to warn people, there's a lot of people out there, and I know their intentions are good. I'm not saying that they're not, but there's people that are pushing things. And, I took ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine during COVID, but there's people out there saying, oh, just take ivermectin. Ivermectin's not enough for cancer. I'm sorry. And I've had snake oil salesmen that literally bullied me the moment I started saying ANKTIVA is the road that we want to take. And I just want people to know, when you're going through something like this is your personal journey with your doctors, and ultimately it's your decision. And for anybody, this guy Makis online, that are bullying people because they're not buying your product, shame on you. Shame on you. People, God will lead you to the path that you need to take, and you need to trust in the Lord. Through every step of this journey, you have to trust God. You have to get close to the Lord. Jesus has to be number one. You have to hear his voice. You have to just walk this journey with him. And it's painful. It is desperate at times. But I'll tell you what, I feel more empowered now and closer to the Lord, and fully mission driven to beat this. And if we beat brain cancer, guys, and I show it, we're walking you on our journey. If we can show you that this cures brain cancer, it's a game changer.
Oh, and I believe, you know what, Lori? I don't know if you know much about the late prophet Kim Clement. Do you know?
Yes, he lived by me in San Rosa Valley.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think, and I don't know, I'm not 100% on this, so don't quote me, but I think there is a prophecy that he said certain cures were going to come out. I think it was Alzheimer's, and I don't know if it was cancer. Now I need to go back and look at that. But I just, as you're sharing all this, that's kind of coming back to me. So I have to go back and research that.
Yeah, but even understand this, with this therapy, putting natural killer cells back into the body, the ones that have kind of gone dormant, this supercharges them. So it's not just cancer. This could be for other diseases, because it also works for HIV. It's working for all different things, because it's training your body to fight disease, period.
I feel like we're in this time that he prophesied. We're in it. We're in it. Lori, we have 30 seconds till the end. Let everyone know how they can find you, your platforms.
Well, if anybody wants to donate to our GoFundMe, help Andrew and Lori fight brain cancer on GoFundMe. If you want to follow our journey on X, it's at Lori, Lori, Mills, Mills, the number 4 CA42. It's also, our journey is posted on YouTube, Uncover California, and Uncover Cali